Hey everybody, I am your host Mike Downer, and I am here with Erin Connor. She is with Howell's Greenhouse and Pumpkin Patch. We are talking about the Howell's Farm experience, and today, Erin, we are going to cover what you should know before your first greenhouse visit. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing great. Going to learn a little bit about greenhouses today, so this is going to be good for me as well. So that kind of leads me into my first question. What should a first-time visitor expect at a local greenhouse, and how do you choose the right plants for your home in Iowa?
Well, here at Howell's Greenhouse and Pumpkin Patch in Cumming, Iowa, you should expect expertise. So when you visit our greenhouse, you will know that our plants were taken care of properly with proper love and attention that you would expect your plants to have compared to if you went to a big box. We the biggest advantage from buying from a local greenhouse instead of a chain is we our expertise in taking care of these plants to thrive and be ready for you to take home into your environment.
Perfect. So, what's the biggest difference between, as far as differences go, what's the difference between visiting a real greenhouse like Howell's and a big box store? What's the biggest difference in your opinion?
I would say the biggest difference is the knowledgeable staff that you would find at our greenhouse versus a big box store. Like we will know which plants will work for your environment better. You won't be just left to figure it out. Like you can ask us for help. We'll walk you through, help you pick out your plants to get them ready for your environment. And here at Howell's, we also specialize. We're like a specialty greenhouse where we specialize in combination containers, so like your patio pots and hanging baskets. So
Okay.
we help you build, or if you want us to, we can help build you a container of all of these complementary plants that will work good for your pot at your house.
Perfect. So, what are the best plants for Iowa beginners that thrive in Zone 5 without requiring a green thumb? Someone like me.
So typical plants that would be good for a beginner here in Iowa. What a typical person would find at the generic box stores would you would find a spike that's in a container with a geranium and some vinca vine. Well, here at Howell's, we elevate that planter. And so instead of using a spike, we would have you get maybe it's called Prince Tut or Cleopatra grass, where it goes up and then it has little starbursts at the end. And
Oh,
we
cool.
could stick with the geranium that everyone knows, or we would see if you would want to try something new called like a sun patient, or sometimes a pentas. Those seem to be less maintenance than a geranium. And then instead of like a typical vinca vine that you would find everywhere, we would offer you a Goldilocks Lismachia, it's called. It's a beautiful long green plant that would make like a vinca vine that you see, but it would be a different style and texture. Because we like to do things different out here, not your typical combination.
Perfect. So, a beginner like me, how should someone walk into a greenhouse for the first time without feeling overwhelmed? Because I'd be very overwhelmed.
What you should do before visiting a greenhouse is you should know the which side of the house you want your planters to go on. You should know the difference at your house between sun and shade, or what hours the sun is. Like if you want to put something on your front porch, well, when does that get sun or when does that get shade? Because that will determine what kind of plants you should be looking at. Not just because it's oh that's pretty. You need to also think about long term, where is it going to be put.
Perfect. So, what's the seasonal timing for buying annuals, perennials, and vegetable? And when does that start in Iowa?
Everyone wants to buy plants about middle of April because the weather started getting nice and they want to get everything going. But the last frost date here in Iowa is usually around Mother's Day, May 15th. That is just the average frost date for us. But everyone our busiest time of year for greenhouse season would be late April through Mother's Day, because everyone wants to get mom a plant, and also everyone wants to get their planters and their flowers before the selection. Because after Mother's Day, the selection is not quite as much, because everyone wants to plant between um, late April to early May.
Perfect. Can they do that too early sometimes? Where do you ever see repeat people that have planted a little early?
So if you do come early before the last frost date, sometimes people, yes, buy their plants. Like certain plants don't like cold, like a coleus plant or like a sweet potato vine, they don't like the cold. But we always recommend, bring it into the garage for the night if it's going to be a cold night. Or sometimes they live in people's sunrooms or their south side window for a week or two. It all depends on, it's always warmer in town than it is out here on the farm. So what I have to do for my plants out here is different than what you would have to do in town.
So that's actually the perfect answer for my next question is how does Howell's help owners, boy, I can't talk today. How do you guys help homeowners plan landscaping for like entries, beds, and overall garden design?
So we focus on more of the bedding plant type for landscaping. We don't do the trees and shrub type of landscaping or the hard like patios. We do more like the container gardening or the flower beds for
Okay,
our customers. And so I have one customer, she brings a picture of her area and how long it is and wide and
smart.
the elements it's going to be. And I help her, we walk through and we kind of put together a little blueprint that she can take a picture of and take it home and know exactly where to plant her stuff for the best turnout and the height. And because when a customer wants to do a flower bed, we always got to think about, well, where do you want your height? Where do you want it to spill out of? What kind of colors do you want in it? So we
Perfect.
help
So
them
it
pick
sounds
out all their plants types that will be complementary to each other.
that's great. Sounds like they have a good, clear picture of what the end product's going to be, and that's a lot of peace of mind when you're investing in plants and the look of your home. So, why does buying locally grown plants matter for success in the Iowa climate?
So the reason to buy your bedding plants local is because of the way we take care of them in our greenhouse before they go home to yours. So about the middle of April, we start turning down the temperature in our greenhouse to get the plants a little more hardy. So because if you take a plant from 80 degrees in a greenhouse to your home at 60, it's going to go into shock and it's going to stunt it and it's going to make it so it's a couple weeks behind on the growth if you didn't scare it too much into shriveling up. So what we do here is we condition it every couple days. We turn down the heat in the greenhouse so it gets used to these temperatures that we have in late April. So you have more success at your house when you take the product home.
Oh, that makes complete sense. Sounds like you're conditioning the plant, kind of like when you go to work out. You know
Mm-hmm.
you're conditioning it for what it's gonna actually have to live through.
Yep.
Um, so for Iowa porches and patios, when is container gardening better than planting in the ground?
Container gardening, it's all about a personal preference, but also a physical. Because if you do something in a patio pot or planter, you don't necessarily have to get down on your hands and knees and weed it like you would if you had a flower bed in front of your house. It's higher up, and then everyone always likes to have their cute front porches with their different styles of pots that they have, and just being, the talk of the neighborhood with their planters. So here at Howell's, we hear a lot of comments from other customers about how their neighbors like, "Ooh, where'd you get that at?" They're like, "Oh, I got that at Howell's," and then their neighbors come out because they gotta have the same style of porch that their neighbor has.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, referrals are always your best sales source all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and
Yep.
a lot of that is because you actually take the time and care, and have the correct plants for the environment. And um, all that really actually matters to people. Again, when you're investing in your home and something that is aesthetics for everybody who sees you, that's extremely important. So um let me ask you, how did Howell's greenhouse grow from a quarter acre of straw flowers in the 1980s to today's full nursery option?
So we started our greenhouse in 30 years ago. So about 1995, we started a greenhouse. And I think it was just a labor of love why he started a greenhouse. Um, and in 95, that was before there was such a thing called patio pots or patio planters. It was mostly just hanging baskets.
Yep.
And the thing to have back then was sweet potato vines and geraniums and the spikes and the vinca vine. And then progressively, we just evolved and got more different types of plants that you wouldn't necessarily see at the box store. And we just kept growing every year. So now we have two greenhouses plus a high tunnel that we grow all of our products in. And we just love creating something new every year, like whether it's with different types of containers that we put our plants in or a new plant that they came out with that we just like to showcase at our greenhouse.
Perfect. Well, you've done a great job of telling us what you should know before your first greenhouse house experience. So if you haven't had a greenhouse experience, I think that great place to start would be Howell's, obviously. Um,
Oh, and also, you won't get this at any other greenhouse anywhere. So if you come to Howell's in Cumming, Iowa, to our greenhouse, you will also get to experience baby goats because we're on a farm. So not only are we have a greenhouse, but we also have goats. So while they say you bring the kids, then they can go feed the goats while you're looking for plants. Like you're not going to get that in town. Ours is on a farm with farm animals. Nice, calm, relaxing atmosphere.
I've never seen it go to the big box store, Erin.
Yep.
And so, thanks for explaining everything to us today. I think that is going to put a lot of people's mind at ease and give them visiting a greenhouse as a very viable and probably smart option. Um, and I look forward. I know we have a lot more to talk about your farm. We got to get Fred back on here. I love talking to him, so maybe we can drag him back on camera someday.
Yep. I'm sure he'd like that.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Erin.
Yep.
And you take care, and I'll talk to you very soon.
Thank you.